Joseph Hill was born in St. Catherine, Jamaica in 1949 and began his musical career as a percussionist in the late 1960s. As Rastafarianism's influence on reggae grew in the 1970s, Mr. Hill formed the roots reggae group Culture, releasing more than 30 albums. He wrote the group's best-known songs including 2/7's Clash, Natty Never Get Weary, and I'm Not Ashamed. 2/7's Clash, Sly and Robbie played on the recording, is considered one of the most influential reggae records. The song was based on a prediction by Marcus Garvey, the Pan-Africanist, who said that chaos would occur when the Sevens met, July 7, 1977. The outcome was similar to Orson Welles and the Mercury Theatre's radio broadcast of War of the Worlds. Many Jamaican businesses and schools closed their doors on that day. Joseph Hill, January 22, 1949 to August 19, 2006, was the lead singer and songwriter for the roots reggae group Culture, whose other members were Kenneth Days and Hill's cousin Albert Walker, most famous for their 1977 hit, 2/7's Clash, but also well known for their International Herb single. Hill recorded 22 albums. Vocal trio Culture helped define the sound and style of Rastafarian roots reggae, thanks largely to charismatic singer, songwriter, and leader Joseph Hill. True to their name, Culture's material was devoted almost exclusively to spiritual, social, and political messages, and Hill delivered them with a fervent intensity that grouped him with Rastafarian militants like Burning Spear and Black Uhuru. Their classic 1977 debut, 2/7's Clash, is still considered a roots reggae landmark, and most of their other late 70s output maintains a similarly high standard. After a hiatus, Culture returned in the mid-80s with a lighter, more polished sound that drew from more eclectic musical sources. Yet the force of their message never softened, and they soldiered on into the new millennium. After Hill collapsed on stage and died during a 2006 tour of Europe, his son Kenyatta Hill assumed his role as lead singer of the group. Over the next decade and a half, Cultures continued to tour with Kenyatta at the helm. He also continued to honor his father's legacy with a series of solo albums, including a 2011 tribute release, Live On, Tribute to Culture. Joseph Hill had been trying his hand at a solo career for some time before forming Culture. He first started out as a disc selector for various sound systems in his hometown of Linstead, in St. Catherine Parish. From there he joined a group called the Soul Defenders as a percussionist and part-time vocalist. The Soul Defenders worked at Clement Coxon Dodd's legendary Studio One in 1971, cutting backing tracks for a variety of vocalists. Hill himself recorded several solo numbers during the time, including Behold the Land and Take Me Girl, but nothing came of them. The Soul Defenders returned to St. Catherine to work the hotel lounge circuit in northern Jamaica, and Hill floated through several bands prior to forming Culture in 1976. His cousin Albert Walker came to him with the idea of forming a vocal group, and the two quickly recruited another cousin, Roy Kenneth Days, to sing harmony vocals along with Walker. Initially calling themselves the African Disciples, the trio hooked up with producer Joe Gibbs in Kingston, and soon changed their name to Culture. Overseen by Gibbs and engineer Errol Thompson, A.K.A. the Mighty Two, they debuted with the single, This Time, on Gibbs's Belmont label. Not long after, they broke through with several hit singles, including See Them A Come and 2/7's Clash. The latter was a Rastafarian vision of the rapidly approaching apocalypse, which fueled public paranoia in an already violent election year. It also provided the title track of the group's debut album, which was released in 1977 to tremendous acclaim. Featuring other crucial tracks like Get Ready to Ride the Lion to Zion and Natty Dread Take Over, 2/7's Clash was a spiritual manifesto against racial injustice and poverty. It won a huge following not only in Jamaica, but also the UK, where the growing punk rock movement was discovering a kinship with protest reggae, and connected immediately with the album's powerful disaffection. Unhappy with their financial dealings with Gibbs, Culture soon split for a brief and contentious stay at Duke Reed's Treasure Isle label, where they started, and never quite finished, a new album titled Africa Stand Alone. The results were eventually released as they were, without authorization. Meanwhile, Gibbs released leftovers from the 2/7's Clash sessions on 2 more LPs, Baldhead Bridge, whose title song was a hit, and More Culture. By the end of 1977, Culture had already moved to Sonia Pottinger's High Note label, and recorded 3 excellent albums in quick succession, 1978's Harder Than the Rest and 1979's Kumbolo and International Herb. Additional material from the era was later compiled on Trod On and Production Something. Culture performed at the legendary One Love Peace concert in 1978, and later toured heavily in the UK with backing band The Revolutionaries, which included the young Sly and Robbie. Lion Rock, however, there would not be much more material forthcoming, at least for the time being. Culture split up in 1982, and Hill recorded what was essentially a solo album, Lion Rock, under the Culture name. Walker and Days, meanwhile, made a few recordings with producer Henry Junjo Laws. The trio reunited in 1986, and quickly recorded 2 well-received comeback albums, Culture at Work and Culture in Culture, that year. They resumed touring as well, and kicked off another prolific and productive period with albums like 1988's Nuff Crisis, which featured the powerful Protest, Crack in New York, 1989's Good Things, 1991's dancehall-flavored 3 Sides to My Story, and 1992's Wings of a Dove. One Stone in 1993, Kenneth Lloyd Days left the group to pursue a solo career, wanting to continue their earlier experimentation with dancehall. Culture was then touring with an independent backing band called Dub Mystic, and the group's lead singer, Aureliano Malamo, was pressed into service as the 3rd vocalist in the trio. Malamo appeared on 2 studio albums, 1996's One Stone and 1997's Trust Me. He was replaced in 1999 by veteran singer Telford Nelson, who made his debut on 2000's Payday. Hill released another effective solo album, Humble African, in 2001, and Culture returned in 2003 with the acclaimed World Peace. On August 19, 2006, during a show in Berlin, Germany, Hill collapsed on stage and passed away. Pass the torch. His son, Kenyatta Hill, was on tour as the band's sound engineer at the time and, amid his grief, boldly stepped up to the mic and assumed his father's role in order to finish the tour. Over the coming years, Kenyatta remained at the group's helm, effectively delivering Culture's music to the next generation while also launching a concurrent solo career. On his 2007 solo release, Pass the Torch, he completed a number of his father's unfinished songs and wrote several new ones that combined a more contemporary dancehall approach with the socially conscious roots style Joseph had helped pioneer. 2011's Live On! Tribute to Culture saw Kenyatta offering up his own versions of Culture classics, while 2014. Joseph Hill was a devoted worshipper of His Majesty Haile Selassie I of Ethiopia as a member of the Rastafari movement. Indeed, Hill's honorific nickname, Keeper of Zion Gate, reflects his vaunted position as one of reggae's and Rastafari's greatest voices. Hill died while the group was in the middle of a European tour after being taken ill suddenly, and he died the next morning. Hill's son Kenyatta has been performing concerts with Culture, standing in on lead vocals as a tribute to his father. Kenyatta toured extensively with his father for the last 11 years and has stated, "Since he is no longer around to do the work himself, I feel it is my duty to carry on the work. I know that he was preparing me for this." Hill had received a number of honors, an induction into the Jamaican Reggae Walk of Fame and a 2005 Independence Award presented by the Prime Minister of Jamaica. In 2006, the group continued to draw good reviews, especially for their performance at Bob Marley's 61st birthday celebration in Ghana. During the 70s, the group had a string of highly successful singles for producers Joe Gibbs and Sonia Pottinger, including the song 2/7's Clash, which made its mark on both Jamaica and the United Kingdom. It was named by Rolling Stone magazine in 2002 as one of the 50 coolest records, the only single artist reggae album to make the list. The group also had a hit with Stop Fussing and Fighting, a song that addressed the chaotic political climate of the late 1970s and the attempt on Bob Marley's life. Joseph Hill and Culture developed a reputation as a performing group after a performance at the One Love Peace concert in 1978, and was soon regularly touring the United States, Europe and Africa. In recent years, the group continued to perform at least 100 concerts each year, with Hill's wife Pauline performing road manager duties. Hill was a presence on stage, part DJ as he directed his band to reconfigure songs on stage, and part teacher as he commented on Jamaican history and current political issues. In his lyrics, Hill often explored how the legacy of slavery continued to have an influence on Jamaican citizens. Yet, what made Culture unique was that Hill always tempered his messages by having a smile on his lips and a dance in his feet. He was never without a good joke at hand. Growing up in the parish of St. Catherine, Jamaica, Joseph Hill often described how he built a homemade drum as a child. He first became involved in the Jamaican music scene as a sound system DJ. By the late 1960s, he was performing as a percussionist for the Soul Defenders group, who were based out of Linstead. It was with this group, which included such figures as Nana McLean and Vincent Morgan, that Hill made his first recording at Cox & Dodd's legendary Studio One, both as a musician and lead singer. Notably, the group backed such Studio One stars as Burning Spear and Dennis Brown. In the early 70s, Hill performed with two groups that included future reggae star Glenn Washington, C35 Incorporated and Stepping Stone. In 1976, Hill formed the Harmony Trio Culture with his cousin Albert Walker and Kenneth Days. The group combined sharp social commentary and catchy rhythms. Hill has often noted that the group earned their name Culture. They had a string of albums, most recently the album World Peace for Heartbeat Records in 2003. Significantly, Hill was not content to let Culture be a mere oldies act. In his last years, he had recorded duets with Buju Banton and Anthony B., and demonstrated a wish to be faithful to his roots and a contemporary artist. At his funeral in September of 2006, Hill was eulogized by, amongst others, Jamaican Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller, who recognized his contributions to Jamaican culture and ambassadorship to the world.